All right. Welcome to the Pro Football Doc Sports Injury Central podcast, exiting week 15 Sunday. It is approximately 7:45 Eastern, 4:45 Pacific. The slate of games, except for Sunday Night Football, has basically just ended. Lots of action, interesting action, and some unfortunate injuries here. We'll talk about Patrick Mahomes, Micah Parsons, Christian Watson, several others,
Davante Adams, even.
Davante
Yep.
Adams, even Puka, and then our guy Rivers, who almost pulled it off. Anyways, where should we start week 15 here, Taylor?
Doc, let's just jump right in. Everybody wants the new news on Patrick Mahomes. Jump right in what you saw in video and which knee, past knee, etc.
Well, we said it, unfortunately, from the six-score war room when we saw his knee buckle. That looked like an ACL and likely partial LCL injury, non-contact, and we showed the replay on Twitter. And unfortunately, we already have confirmation of the ACL. But understand, whenever there is confirmation of the ACL, not all ACL tears are the same. No one says ACL and the meniscus, ACL and a partial MCL, ACL and an LCL. They just say ACL, puts it in the category. It's kind of like saying I got rear-ended on the highway.
Right.
You don't really get into is it the right rear quarter panel, left rear quarter panel, the bumper.
I was saying bumper's off.
You don't get into the details of it.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes, being the tough guy that he is already basically tweeted out, here we go.
Tough road ahead.
Tough road on the next year,
Yeah,
right?
right.
And the Chiefs, unfortunately, were eliminated. Patrick Mahomes, left knee ACL. I don't doubt him. He made an unbelievably fast recovery from his kneecap dislocation several years ago and went on missing only a couple weeks, no surgery, and to win the Super Bowl. No reason to doubt him here, but there does seem to be more than just isolated ACL with the LCL. We'll have to let the news play out. 9 months and change before the first game. Look, it's not the worst thing in the world if he doesn't make the first game, as long as he's good to go.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs can retool and withstand that, but I wouldn't rule Patrick Mahomes out. I mean, he's played through so many injuries the way he plays off platform and otherwise. I'm sure the team will be protective of him, but unfortunately, bad news to have a major ligament tear confirmed, and that's kind of what we saw in game.
And just to clarify, you're ruling him out for majority of the off-season camp leading into week 1, correct? Next year?
Yes. However, that may not be the worst thing.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes has played a lot of football with the postseasons and everything.
That's true.
He's still there in the same system. I remember the Deflategate controversy, and then Tom Brady was suspended the first 4 games of the season because he didn't want to turn over his phone.
Correct. Yep.
They won the Super Bowl that year because here's Tom Brady late in his career. It's not the worst thing in the world.
A little bit of rest. Yeah.
To not play at that time with 16 games. Let him play 12 games. That's not the worst thing in the world. And this will lead into our guy, Phillip Rivers. I'm looking at his jersey here. A game effort, game manager, smart. But look, the slip was on the slick logo.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, did he look old? Look, there's a lot of 44-year-old or several that have played out there, but there's a difference when you haven't played football in 5 years and you literally haven't been training to play football and you're literally, quote, off the couch to do so. A game effort from him, and we talked about it here. Like, he clearly isn't the Rivers of old, but look, he put the Colts in that game and they had a chance to win. It was a 56-yard field goal that beat them at the end.
Mm-hmm. There's too much time on the
clock. He inspired his team. What are you going to do? It was a game effort. But as much as I've been supportive of Phillip Rivers and think he's able to take hits and able to do that, clearly he's not the same guy. And clearly he can't play 17 games, right? I mean, it's my belief that will he play next week? If the Colts are still alive, he will play next week. If the Colts are mathematically eliminated, he may say, let me help coach up Riley Leonard,
mm-hmm.
And give the young buck some experience. Maybe Anthony Richardson's ready to come back. Who knows? Don't know his status yet. But he's not the same guy. My point is, and he wouldn't last 17 games, but he can get through a short span. And going back to Patrick Mahomes, it may not be the worst thing to get him a little bit of a break from football and from the routine. Of course, he's going to work his rear off, rehabbing and the whole deal, but it's not the worst thing in the world for him to not be there. For Daniel Jones, if he were to sign with a new team, that's not good that he's not there for the offseason program.
He needs to be there
for all of it because of his Achilles. For Patrick Mahomes, it's not a bad thing.
They're not installing a new offense.
Some time off, and get away from the game a little bit.
I want to mention on the Colts, Doc, they play on Monday. So if we're talking about Old Man Rivers, you're giving him an extra day of rest, right? Which is helpful. You're talking about game to game. Also, just to let you know, they are not eliminated. They're 8-6 right now, but they're the wild card team that's looking at, like outside looking in. So they're there. So he will be needed Monday Night Football against the Niners next week. It's just a matter, like you said, how he's feeling, right? Just that's what you saw your friend Sean Merriman talk about that, right? Just the recovery, not worried about Rivers' gameplay in the game. It's more like the week to week recovery.
Well, I don't know about you, but for me, an old guy, if you haven't done a sport or something in a while, your first day back lifting in the gym, or doing yoga, or playing basketball or tennis or whatever you do, or golfing after you haven't golfed for a while, I'm pretty good. But what about the next round of golf, the next day of tennis? That's when you're sore, right? And you already saw Philip on the sidelines, working on the shoulder rotator cuff kind of thing. Next game will be interesting. And the other interesting thing is he clearly was throwing underneath and being smart. That game plan's on film now. The 49ers, Kyle Shanahan, and Robert Salah will be all over that. So Shane Steichen will have to have another wrinkle there.
All right. I was going to say, Doc, we were talking about how we would look like. If I was running in a straight line, I would look like how Davante Adams ended up today. Straight line, eventually pulled his hamstring. He did have a pre-existing hamstring. What did you see on that video?
Well, pretty obviously he aggravated the hamstring. And here's the thing. I've always said, look, people say, you want players to be tough and play through. Well, Davante Adams did it. And this is the downside. You re-aggravate it. If Davante Adams doesn't aggravate it, or doesn't try and burst and accelerate, or is very limited in the game plan, or sits, he's available for Thursday against Seattle. Now he's not going to be available for the Rams Thursday against Seattle. That's the downside with this hamstring aggravation. I always said in sports medicine as a team physician, you're driving a Formula One car or an Indy car. Everyone can help guys or drive the car 200 plus miles an hour down the straightaway. Everyone can slow down and not hit the wall. The key is to know when the wall is coming or the turn is coming to slow down ahead of it, to not crash, i.e. play through an injury and have it get worse. And also to accelerate before the turn is over. Otherwise, you're going to get past. In other words, you have to know when to push an injury as you're on the other side when it's safe, and when to slow down before there is injury or re-injury. And I'm not second guessing anyone on the Rams or anything like that, but that is the art of it. One game too soon, one game too late, one series too soon, one series too late. Unfortunately, Davante Adams is going to likely be out on Thursday for that key divisional matchup against the Seahawks. And the Seahawks, slid out the victory. They're showing it on the replay on TV. Philip Rivers returns. I'm really happy for him. I think he really comported himself very well.
He said he wasn't going to be the hero. Like you said, that was the right way to play
I thought the pregame was awesome. I'm not here to save the team. I'm not here to be a hero. I'm here to be one of the guys. And he
said he missed being one of the teammates and stuff. Yeah, he liked being around everybody.
Yeah. And I'm happy for him. He stood in the pocket, took some hits there. It's just unfair in the sense that he hasn't been working out for this. Literally called off the couch, so to speak. But
that was the options, like we talked about when Daniel Jones got hurt. They weren't going to be able to sign any, no like trades or anything. They had to be off the couch or practice squad.
Think about this: how many people before today believed that the Colts would take the Seahawks down to the wire?
Well, no one did. It was a 12.5 spread.
14.
Yeah, or it went to 14. Correct. Yeah, exactly.
The line was 14, so no one believed it would be close. And the fact that it was close, and it is what it is. But good effort from him. If you asked Philip, I'll bet he'd say he'd do it again. And he is going to do it again next week.
I'll say next week he's there. I saw, Doc, like we've had 3 big injuries this week, and I feel like they're 3 of the most marketable stars we had. We had Mahomes, we had Adams, and we didn't talk about the defensive injury from the Green Bay Packers star Micah Parsons.
Well, I would argue we had more than that quote this week if you're counting 7 days.
It's true. You're right.
TJ Watt.
That's true. Yeah.
The dry
needle thing. We got to.
I don't know that we've covered that since on a podcast form.
You had a big video, but no podcast. Exactly. Yeah.
So real quick, TJ Watt.
Yeah.
Mind blown that dry needling can cause this or did cause this. It's not real needling. It's not a hollow needle we're injecting. It's like a filament. It's like a small wire filament. It's like small needles, like acupuncture.
Okay.
Even if you puncture the floor of the lung, it shouldn't be an air leak and whatever. So I don't know how, like all the muscle that TJ Watt has, how you get so deep with a small filament dry needling that you cause this. I mean, I don't do dry needling. I understand dry needling. I get it's a potential if you get too close.
You never used it when you were at the Chargers? That was never a thing? Or
well, let me tell you, in the state of California, it is illegal for a physical therapist or athletic trainer to do dry needling.
Okay.
You have to have puncture privileges in the skin. So a doctor could do it. I didn't do it.
Okay.
I guess I did my own needling, but it wasn't dry because it was injecting
rib
blocks and other things.
You're using needles in a different way. Yeah.
Or a licensed acupuncturist.
Right.
A team athletic trainer or physical therapist is not allowed to do that. I don't know what the laws are in the state of Pennsylvania. Not trying to go there, but I'm just saying it's a specialized technique. So dry needling has come more into vogue. It's for muscle spasms and tissues, but I don't know how you get so deep with this little filament and you quote puncture the lung or cause an air leak. Yeah. The only good news of that for TJ Watt, it's better than having a blood clot. It does mean that I think he will return this season. The question is when. Obviously not on Monday against the Dolphins. Next week, week 16 seems like a stretch. Week 17, 18 seem plausible, and certainly playoffs. So I guess that's the good news for TJ Watt. Just covering that. Then you mentioned obviously
Micah Parsons. Yeah.
Micah Parsons. I think as he started on air, there was soft confirmation
from Schefter, like we believe,
that Packers believe or a Packer source believes. This is one of those. Let's hope the video lies, but was very clear.
You saw it.
Posted on it from the War Room, unfortunately. And the first replay they showed on TV, I think, remember from the room, I'm like, shoot, he just tore his left knee ACL.
You said it. You were pretty distinct about it. Yeah.
I hope to be wrong, but I don't think it was or is. And our guy Doug, the Packers fan, is a little bit.
Yeah, I felt the room deflate. I saw him. He went, sat down.
Doug normally shows no emotion. He's easy going, but he was a little more flat of affect. What do we got breaking news there, Daniel?
McVay said hamstring injury for Davante Adams didn't look good, and the status for Thursday night is in doubt, like you expressed.
Well, we already said that, right? Yes. Thank you, Sean McVay. But that's the hazard of being tough guy and playing through. Okay. So Thursday he's going to be out. Sean McVay has all but confirmed that. Yes.
I wanted to mention something that just came up. Brandon Aiyuk's had his injury all week. They've seemed like they've kind of went away from him. And they asked him about him. They said they haven't seen him forever. And apparently it's been a month or so since he's been around the team. So that seems a very weird situation.
Well, before we get to Aiyuk, Puka.
Yes.
The room's like, someone tried to help him up. He didn't get up. Let's get the video. Oh my gosh. But he's walking. It was a cramp. Okay. This is why we say, don't judge the reaction to the video. Judge the video of the injury itself.
Right.
Puka came back, limped a little bit, tight. He'll be ready for Thursday. Cramps are curable, solvable, no big deal. He'll be ready for Thursday.
And they need him, especially with Davante Adams potentially out, like we talked
potentially
about.
Out. Davante Adams out.
We'll rule him out, yeah.
Under 0.1 receiving yards for Thursday.
For Davante Adams. There you go.
What
do you say? Book it. Yeah.
Book it.
Yeah.
Brandon Aiyuk, is a little bit like the Joe Mixon mystery.
Correct.
We know something's not right. We don't have the details yet, right?
He's recovering. We don't know what's going on.
We know Joe Mixon for the Texans. There's something's not right there, and we foreshadow it from the preseason. We don't know the whole story yet. Brandon Aiyuk, we don't know the whole story yet, but clearly, I mean, something, don't know what it is, whose fault it is, etc. Don't have the details, but he's done for the season officially based on status in terms of what the 49ers did. Obviously, he didn't like it. He didn't respond, or he thought the 49ers didn't do him right, or he got disgruntled. We don't know the story, but
No
turn the
details,
page on to the next deal here.
Big one I want to talk about, Christian Watson. He went down on his, we thought it maybe was head injury. They did say chest. He was said to go to the hospital. Tell me what your thoughts on that injury.
He landed hard on his left shoulder. He sort of jammed his elbow, shoulder, and then landed on it. And close as I can see is, don't believe he dislocated his shoulder. It's on the list. Don't believe he injured his AC joint. It's on the list. Don't believe he fractured his clavicle. It's on the list. I think the chest come from SC joint, sternoclavicular joint injury. Tyreek Hill, a couple years ago.
Yes, it was. Yes, he had to go to hospital. Correct. Yeah.
Went to the hospital.
Missed multiple weeks. It was Chiefs.
Dolphins?
It was Chiefs. Yep.
And there's some other examples of SC joint injuries. I forget which. The reason for the hospital is if it is displaced, especially posteriorly, it can be pressing on some of the big vessels in the chest, and you want to reduce it and etc. So Christian
Marquise
Watson,
Brown a couple years ago as well.
Marquise Brown, yes, thank you.
That was Chiefs as well.
Bottom line is, this is Christian Watson. Sorry, Doug, is going to miss multiple weeks with an SC joint, most likely. Doesn't mean his season is over. There's 3 more weeks and then playoffs. But Christian Watson is going to miss some time. But I guess the only good news is Jaden Reed seems to have come back well so far and turned the corner on his foot and his clavicle fracture.
And he's very explosive too. I want to mention it was just talked about on the Patrick Mahomes injury. First off, can we attribute this injury in some way to the offensive line because he was running a lot? Secondly, he's been running a lot for this entire year because they haven't had a really explosive offense. He almost has 500 rushing yards already this year, second on the team, more than he's had in most years at this point. Is that something to do with the offensive line injury, or is it just something freak that happened, or all the above maybe?
Well, as I always say, the more you run, the more you extend plays, the more risk you take. The more double black diamond ski runs you take, the more risk you take in blowing out your ACL. The more blue and green runs you take, the less chance, right? Versus a double black diamond. And when you're running, yes, it was non-contact out in space, but he's avoiding people. Is that a result of his offensive line? Yes, and a result of his desire to win and create something. So once again, hard to fault him on that, but it was a little bit of a freak injury. Now, he has had previous injury, recently reported injury report using a heat pad on
for his left knee,
his left knee, not related to the previous patella dislocation, apparently. But yeah, so there is some relationship. Let's talk about exposure risk a little bit.
Well, you're talking about double black. Talk about Jaxson Dart. You're talking about double. I knew you were going there. I was waiting there as well. Go on. Yes.
Jaxson Dart, 5th concussion check in 10 games. No concussion. But here's the thing. Yes, young buck has to learn. But looking at the video, kudos to the NFL, spotter in the sky, the Giants medical staff, the referee, whoever it was who said, you got to get your head checked. By video, now we have the advantage of looking at it in replay, not just real time. It didn't look like it would even warrant a head check, but more neck. And you saw Jaxson Dart complaining like, I don't want to go, but you have to go. Part of that is I think everyone's antenna is up on him anytime it's close, right? Because the last time he actually had a concussion, he wasn't immediately checked.
Correct.
So everyone's antenna's up on him. The red hat, the doctors for the Giants,
they're on high alert,
the buzzer in the sky, the spotter, the referees themselves. So they're on high alert. So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy for him to get checked more. But we had a conversation in the room. Someone said, why don't you just shut Jaxson Dart down? You don't have anything to play for. And, why risk further injury? I said, well, it's football. My take on that is if you're Jaden Daniels and you already have ascended to the tops of the game in his first season, you kind of do shut him down.
Mm-hmm.
Jaxson Dart is in position to be next year's starter and leader,
But he's figuring it out still.
but he still needs some growth.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not trying to step in, but if I were involved with the team, or if I were the head coach, I might say, Jaxson, yeah, you're going to keep playing here, but we're not playing for anything that's that important. This is your time to get better at your craft. This is the time to learn to get down. And if you don't get down, you're putting yourself and our team at risk this season and next season. And I'm going to bench you the first time you don't get down, even if you don't get a concussion. If you don't follow these rules, I'm going to protect you from yourself. And we're not going to put you out there, because young Buck's got to learn. Otherwise, he's going to keep putting himself at risk. I think that's what I would do, but no one's asking.
You sounded like a coach there, though. I felt that.
Or,
that was intense,
I almost felt like I was a parent to my son Davis. Like, if you don't do X, Y, and Z.
Your tone went up a little bit.
I was like,
you're yelling at Dart there a little bit.
I'm not yelling at Dart. I'm just trying to be
coach him and help him out. Yeah.
For his own good. Well, I mean, I'm not in charge of Jaxson Dart, but I was pretending I was speaking to my son, saying, look, you got to do this.
Yes. We'll have a pod tomorrow on 11:30, Doc. Just doing a lot of the
Pacific
stuff,
time.
Yeah, going a lot of stuff that's going into next week. I have one more before we talk. I want to talk about SIC Picks real quick with Doc. Huge week this week for us. Guaranteed pick in the Houston game. Props did very, very well. Because I did all unders, by the way, guys. I like overs, but you know what? Everybody yells at me, and it's the way to go. But I took it. I listened. I think it was week 15 when I finally listened, so it's might be but yeah, SIC Picks did very well. We've been doing good on props and sides and totals all year long, Doc. So big week for us, including the guarantee.
Totals are great. Sides are great.
Yep.
One loss. Props are great.
Yeah, Samuel 1 yard off or half a yard. Yeah, it's okay.
I don't think we're gonna too late to win it. We're doing well in Circa, but I think it's a 5-0 Circa week. But we probably need
couple more of them.
3 more 5-0s
win out,
to get into the running. But we're pretty good. We're over 60%.
Yeah.
I don't know the latest, but in Circa, low 60s. But you know, the winners are in the mid 60s, so we got a ways to go. 5-0 week helps us, but isn't going to get us there in the money, I don't think. And then, thankfully, I don't think you jinxed me.
Yeah, I'm not going to say anything. I was waiting for you to say yes. Yeah, you're doing good. You're doing well.
Well,
not wrapped up yet.
Not wrapped up, but
we're talking about Scott Fish right now. Fantasy. Yeah.
I have Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott to go, and Aaron Jones, and I have 229 points, and 275 should get you through. So,
if he doesn't, I advise him to put Aaron Jones in for DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift had 2 touchdowns, 98 yards today, I believe. So
put that on record here.
Yes, yeah.
But no, we'll see if we can get through the quarterfinals of Scott Fish Bowl here.
Last one before we're going to have a lot of other names on the rundown tomorrow is Rome Odunze, Doc. You already said you were worried about him. I heard you talking on the VSiN show and the Grid show this morning about it. He didn't even get to play in the game. Re-aggravated or did something to the foot stress fracture in warmups. Tell me what your thoughts on that is.
Likely 5th metatarsal stress fracture. We've seen the decline in Rome Odunze. He missed the week before. Good on him. He felt like he's ready to go, but we said this is something he's going to deal with the rest of the season. He's not going to be fully healthy until he likely has surgery and has an off season. And at this point, what's happened? This is clearly a setback. Is it a temporary setback where they think they try and rest him, or do they try and fix him with surgery now? The problem with fixing with surgery now, with this little time, it is the end of his season. So they may just still wait and cross their fingers and hope that this is just short term. Because if you do surgery now and after week 15, you're not going to be back this season. So your only chance is, fingers crossed, that it feels better temporarily, and then get the fix at the end of the season, and we'll see.
All right, wrap it up, Doc. But I want people to make sure they go on the podcast tomorrow, because we're going to talk about people like Marvin Harrison and Drake London. People still have their fantasy finals this week, next week, going into next week, Doc. So they're going to need all those key information. SICScore.com has all the insights for all the players that got injured today, all day tomorrow as well.
And we jinxed ourselves because in the war room, and we're like, hey, it's a light injury day. There's not a lot. And now
Mahomes
you go.
Parson in less than 2 minutes after we said stuff like that. Exactly. Yeah.
And that's unfortunate there.
Mhm.
But Sunday Night Football still to go. Should be a good game. No Christian Darrisaw.
That's a big miss. Yeah.
And we'll see if Dallas can rebound there. And then
C Lamb back with the
C Lamb's back.
Yep.
And then Monday night. But we'll have the podcast again before Monday Night Football as well. A good weekend here. I don't know. On the same, can I be happy and sad for Philip at the same time?
You're allowed to be, yeah, because he was so close to being all happy. You know what I mean? You're like, if you got blown out, you'd be like, "Oh, I'll be just all sad."
I'm really happy for him. I'll bet
he's.
But I'm really happy.
He was so
for
close.
Him, but, could have been
so close.
some, some good stuff there. Legendary.
Yeah.
I think it's still legendary that he got out there and tried.
He had a passing touchdown, 120. Arguably, that's what you would probably get from Leonard. Like you said, the ceiling and we talked about early in the fantasy. Remember the fantasy show earlier this morning? So it's like.
And the last pick was a tip ball, and it was desperation time.
Like a punt at the end of the game.
You have to like force it in there. You can't say, let me live to fight on second and third down. There isn't going to be second and third down.
That's a crazy beat. So I was talking to people about that. It was minus 166 for an INT, and then it was plus money for the non. He had non the whole way until the end. It would have been a bad beat if you had took that. But all right, yeah, we'll wrap it up, Doc. Like and subscribe. Make sure you go to SICScore.com for all the latest. Thank you.
All right, thanks.